Now that we've done the header and the navigation, we need to move on to the main part, the actual fun part, which is these sections down here. Remember, we're dividing the main content area out into different sections. So we need to work on this entire area. So this is a section. These three columns are a section. This interstitial image that just for cool factor is a section. And then these two columns are sections. We're not going to get into more than just this section up here for this tutorial. The next tutorial will get into the rest of the sections. But for speed purposes and to get you going on this, and you can actually try out the other sections as well. But we're going to be introducing you to a couple new tags that might need a little more explanation. So let's get to it. So this is where we're at with ours. Let's go over to the tutorial one. I'm going to expand this and this a little bit. Okay, so you can see this is where we left off. So let's go down to the main content area. We're going to get rid of all these breaks. And we're going to add a new tag, which is called section. And that's how we're going to create that section. Now, in modern CSS, we refer to this called the box model. And that's because everything is a box within a box within a box. So you can see that that's kind of how we're doing that. So we have this box, which is a big box. And then we have this box that contains the image, and then another box that contains the text. So you can see that's why we call it the box model. So in order to do that and to stylize it, we need to use tags in HTML, and that's we want to separate it with the section tag. And the section tag kind of operates already like how you would think a section should work. It's just one big row, and that way you can put it already acts like kind of like a parent box, and then you can put child boxes underneath it and stylize it that way. So we're going to use the section, and then what we're going to do inside the section is we're going to create two more boxes, but we're going to make these boxes divs. Okay, and within the first box, we're going to put an image. So we're going to do image source equals, and then like I showed you before, you need to just find the image of your choice. Now, in this case, I know it needs to be around 400 pixels wide. We're going to force it to that. Now, notice I didn't put a height. And the reason why I didn't do that is because the height will be automatically. So it will give the exact height depending on what the width is. So it'll the code will know the ratio. If you put a height, you risk the chance of it being squished, or you don't know the height. But sometimes it is good to give the exact width and height depending on what you're trying to do. So in this case, we're just gonna put the width because we'll let the height be whatever we want. All right, so let's go here, put in the source, paste that in there. It's kind of long, I know, sorry. And then we're gonna hit save. And we're gonna go back over to here, hit refresh, and there's our image. Okay. Now remember, we haven't stylized this yet. We're just doing the framework right now. In this case, now I'm going to put in an H2. Now this is a heading 2 tag, right? I'm going to put in some Lorem Ipsum. Remember, that was placeholder copy. So just Latin text that you can generate. If you don't know how to do that, you can do L Ipsum and go to Lorem Ipsum generator. And you can click down here, you can do paragraphs, words, so lists, those kinds of things. So if you need to generate some lists for yourself, you can quickly do that. Sometimes I just do paragraphs and then I just steal copy out of here. That way I don't have to think about my text until I'm ready to write. So that we'll do that, and then we'll put a couple paragraphs in here to get it. Actually, we're going to do a subheading. So if you remember, let's do H3, sorry, H3. If you're following along, I apologize, but it's kind of good that you see that I make mistakes because that happens a lot in programming. We have another subheading here that's kind of like a call out text that I want to show you how to stylize, kind of give it a little more style. make it easier to read. Then we're going to do a paragraph, couple paragraphs. And so let's just get those in there now so we know that they're going to exist. I'm going to do 3 paragraphs. Actually, I'm just going to do a couple paragraphs here. And then I'm going to go ahead and paste some Lorem Ipsum text. Okay. And then for the paragraph, I'm just going to throw in some other Lorem Ipsum text that I already had for this. So you can see here that that's how we have it now. We've got the H3, which ends here, right? And then we've got the P tag, the first paragraph, which ends here. And then the other paragraph tag. So that's how we have it. So we've got a div up here. So we have the main box, which is this section. And then we have 2 boxes in here, which are these 2 divs, okay? And that's how we create the boxes. Now I'm going to hit save, and we're going to go back here and refresh. Now, it obviously is not doing what we thought it was going to do or what we want it to do, because we need to stylize it. It doesn't know what we're trying to achieve unless we stylize it. Now, there's some new tags I'm going to introduce you to, but let's go back up to our style. So first and foremost, we need to stylize the main section, right? So if you recall, there is let's do section here. Okay, so let's do this. We're going to do main, and then we're going to do background color, and we're going to do, let's see, let's do white. Okay. Now, the reason why I want to do that is we'll save it. It will make the background white, which you can't tell because the other background, the main background's white, but when we put an image in there, you'll see. But that main tag is right here that we're stylizing. Now we want to stylize the section, or we want to start giving it this. Now I'm going to introduce you to a new property. So we're going to do section, and we're going to do display flex. All right. Now this is more modern CSS, but it's called Flexbox. And we're saying that this section needs to display the divs that are inside the section as columns. They're going to go side by side to each other. So hopefully, let's see. Let's make sure I'm not lying to you. Okay. So by default, Flex makes it so that they will, these divs or these boxes will act as columns. So depending on how wide they are is how these 2 boxes will interact with each other. Okay. So if you want to search what Flex is, you can. So if you go to W3, if you just type in W3 schools and type in like something like Flex, you'll see the Flex property that I was talking about, and you can kind of read about it and how it works. And it's a very, very powerful property that makes it so you can really control how your layouts are on your website. And this is how the pros do it. And this is something that I would highly recommend researching if you really want to pursue deeper into stylizing. Now, for our purposes, we can just use the magical property called Flex, and it just automatically does it for us. And we're going to go just as far as that, but note that there's a lot of attributes that can go on the Flex property or the display property. So now let's do this. Let's put some margin in here, because what I don't like is it's touching. See, we have some nice margins. See how it's touching each other? So I don't like that. So we're going to also go in here and say section. Now we're going to say div. Now, so the reason why we don't have to be very particular about what div, because I'm saying both divs. So if I select this, use selector section, which is this, right? Then I say inside section, all the divs, I want every div inside that section to have a margin 40 pixels. All right, we'll hit save, go over here, refresh, And now it should give us a nice margin, okay? Now, for fun, let's start stylizing the H2 tag because it didn't look very good. So what we're going to do is we're going to go here, and rather than doing the whole section, let's just do H2, because what we're saying is anytime there's an H2 tag, I want it to be font size, let's say 28. Now you can make it different colors or whatever, but in this case, we're just gonna make it a bigger size. Okay, we'll refresh that. So it actually bumped it up just a teeny bit. We can do like, let's say 35. So you can see, go here, refresh. It doesn't appear like it's changing, does it? Oh, because I wrote the syntax wrong. See? That, make sure you have colon and then, yeah, 28 pixels. Okay, so what I did is I forgot a colon there, and your code won't work. It's really, really picky, and it will yell at you. All right, there we go. Okay, now let's go to the H3 tag. I'm going to style this a little bit different too. So we're going to say font family. Let's do this one, Trebuchet. Now this is a device font, so meaning it's on your computer, so don't worry about that. Font size 20 pixels. Okay, make sure I wrote that right. Line height. Now the line height is just the height between the sentences or the lines, the baselines of the text. So the baseline means the baseline cuts right here at the bottom of each sentence. So if you look here, you can kind of see that these are the baselines. So we want to change the space between the baselines there. I'll show you what I mean. Line height, let's do 30. A lot of times I do the line height about 10 pixels, 5 to 10 pixels bigger than the font size. That seems like a good ratio that I've come up with. I'm going to do the color, CD318. Just so you know, I don't have a photographic memory. I made notes for myself of what the color is. So don't think you got to memorize this. Again, it's not about memorization. Now, text decoration, let's do underline, and we're going to hit save. So coding is like math. It's not about memorizing. It's about knowing the rules and knowing how to look it up. So let's refresh. There we go. It's starting to look like what we kind of wanted. Yeah, that's looking good. There's one thing that's kind of bugging me a little bit. I think it's is it the text? Did we stylize the text? Oh yeah, we did do that. Let's see. Yeah, that's about right. So I don't really like the text on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to change. I'm going to put all the P tags. So I'm going to come up here underneath the body, and I do this to kind of keep it organized because these are main tags. So I'm actually going to change the font size on all the paragraph tags. Now remember, I'll change it to 16px, and then the line height is, I'm going to make it around 24. I just know that's a good number. All right, so I'm going to hit save. Now remember, what I'm doing here is I'm changing all the P tags to take on a new property. See right here, the P tag? That way all the text, pay attention to this text right here when I hit refresh. When I hit refresh, that should look better. Now I've got some more line height, and the size is a little bit easier to read. So it looks a little bit better. So anyways, that's how to do that section. When we get into it next, we're going to work on the other three sections, and then the background and the footer, which we might be in 2 parts as well, and kind of wrap it up, and I can kind of show you some examples how to add more sections and things like that. We just talk about what you can go from there.